Garden 30 live stream. Today, I'm playing with some new technology, but we're working on beets. Garden 30's inside. Hopefully you can hear the audio okay. If you can't, let me know. I did finally figure out how to get the live stream to be like not portrait, but landscape. Hi. And this is what I got. One, a cheese grater that needs to go in the dishwasher. And two, I'm canning beets because I've got to be caught up with all the beet canning by the time we get there. So that is what it is. Life goes on and all those things. So these beets, I've been kind of plugging away at this for 3 days, but I want to know what y'all want to talk about. So let me know in chat if you want to hear something about something. I had a really fun podcast earlier today about lots of things. But this is just typical day at the kitchen. I get to the end of the day, there's a coffee mug, all of those things. And catching up on beets is my primary directive. So what I'll be doing is canning these. That means, hello, Angie. Hey, Angie, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. I looked at the news today with fresh eyes, and it's all bullshit. It is all bullshit. Like, I knew that we had fallen far into the, hopefully, well, actually, I'll just bring this with me. We got woofing outside. I knew we'd fallen into the bullshit. We're gonna walk outside and get some canning jars. That's the important thing. But today I had some fresh eyes, as I mentioned, and when I looked at the headlines, they were all, I was like, have fallen. Hey, Tactical, you have time to help me? Okay, cool. He's going to help me with this. So I'm going to just get like 4 jars, and I'm going to ask for his help getting more jars. When I do beets, I do it in sets of 7. So I knew it was given to me, somebody who hadn't seen news for 2.5 years, and now I'm like, now for the best. Why did I close all the doors? Now my hands are full. Ugh. So I'm trying to like juggle a video. Hi, dogs. Meanwhile, the dogs are watching me very attentively. Okay. We were looking for materials. I can't read without my glasses. Where are my glasses? Ah. Sorry about that. Comments only work if Nicole has her glasses on. We went, oop. Nope. Come on, YouTube. Give me some love, man. We went looking for materials for a new chicken coop, and just dealing with zombies was exhausting. Maybe we will order material online from now on. I love delivery. Like the one thing, the normalization of delivery has been really awesome, I think. That should have been normalized before, though, because I used to think of it as follows. It's more expensive to buy things on Amazon or through Walmart for delivery than if you go into the store, right? And in these trying times of inflation, one looks for ways to save money. And one way to save money is to go to the store, right? Except that the actual cost of your gas and your time and all of that adds up really fast. And if you don't factor that in, then next thing you know, you've you're spending more to save a few bucks. And so I try to look at the total ROI, and Sue Zoldak got me thinking about this because she delivers most of her food to her house. And sometimes I do just want to go to the store, guys. But other times, I really don't want to go to the store. And it can take a long time at the store to be at the store. So I started looking at the extra $5 or $2, this and that. And I started calculating how much per item I spend in my time and gas to get them. And unless I'm going somewhere already, then I actually now I'll pay more for things to get delivered sometimes because I'm not going to be there anyway, and it's going to take me a lot of time to deal with it. So Tactical's going to come in and help a little bit. Hey, I'm on my Garden 30. could you bring me just 3 more wide mouth mason jars, quart from out under the sink, please? That way I don't have to juggle jars and my phone. What I'm doing right now, guys, is pickling beets. So I just added peppercorns and garlic. And next I'm going to add dill. And I'm probably going to add some cloves. And I have to decide if this is going to be Aunt Helen's recipe or the other recipe, my recipe. Aunt Helen's recipe has sugar. I'm a ketogenic eater, so I like to do, you know, I like to do both options. I mean, because one pickled beet, ooh, that one. This is dill. This is like an inch thick. It's crazy, but it still adds the dill weed flavor, so I'm putting that in. So I like to have both, the ones that don't have added sugar and the ones that taste like Aunt Helen's recipe, because I love my Aunt Helen, even though she's been departed for a long time. Anyway, I like pickled beets with fermented beets a few months ago. Oh, I've never tried fermented beets. I've had kvass. I'll wash them.
Check the rim on that one.
Oh.
I just noticed.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It just needs to be washed. I'll wash those. But I like Aunt Helen's recipe a lot, and it makes me think of her, and it makes me happy. And most of the people who eat my beets like Aunt Helen's thing. So, anyway, so what do you do when all the headlines are bullshit? Tactical's here too, so he can actually talk to us.
Ignore the headlines.
He ignores the headlines.
Well, I just ignore the news in general.
He does just ignore the news in general. The only way he finds out anything's going on is I'm like, hey, there was a shooting, or such and such got voted in.
There wasn't a shooting around here.
No. Thankfully, no shootings around here.
I wouldn't know. They didn't shoot anybody.
Yeah, so that's one thing you can do. How do you find out what's really going on underneath the headline? The one I read that's on my mind, it got me thinking about this, is that Pfizer had a trial for a pill you can take after you get the thing. I like pickled beets. Wait. I like pickled beets with ferment. Oh, ignore them. It's right. Yep. Empty says ignore them. Pfizer pulled their trial of the pill that they were trying to use as a after you get the thing, you use the thing. I feel like we could make this video more. What's the... I see. We need to move these jars. And they stopped the trial. So the reason they said they stopped the trial was due to not getting great results. So I'm like, okay, that's an interesting headline. Why are they not getting great results? Because we're pretty sure it's ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and zinc or something, basically, in that. Who knows what it really is. But, you know, what happened? So I read the actual article, and the headline was wrong. The headline was not why. They didn't do it because of bad results. They did it because in their control group, not enough people died to make it statistically different. So what's happened is the disease has become less fatal, I guess. And we knew that was happening. LH says they also don't look at the news. Right on. That probably makes you a calmer mindset. And I thought, that's the headline. That's the headline they should have had, which is that the thing is so much more mild now that trials aren't going well for cures for the thing because people aren't dying anyway. And so they can't prove that their thing makes fewer people die because not as many people are dying. That's good news. We don't like to report good news. So the headline is not good enough results. And if you start digging into a lot of stories, and I'm as guilty as anybody, I'll scan headlines and look at them and, you know, assume that the headline's actually accurate. Oftentimes the headline is not accurate at all, and all you have to do is read the article. Like, the information's in the article, but the headline is skewed to get eyeballs, right, and clicks. And then the actual information is the opposite of the headline. You know, we've got the Ministry of Truth on Facebook now talking about misleading stuff, but they don't mention that, right? Somebody's picture of their salad in my network was censored by Facebook as because it was a pharmaceutical. At least they got that right? Food is medicine. Food is medicine. Apparently, according to Facebook, food is medicine, so putting pictures of your salad is dangerous because you're not supposed to promote or sell pharmaceuticals on Facebook unless you're an actual pharmaceutical company. I thought that was pretty funny. It's kind of like there was earlier some keto brownies that were the recipe was being distributed on Facebook, and it got censored as dangerous misinformation, or it was like explicit or violent, or I don't even remember, something like that, and it was a tray of brownies.
Whatever reason they felt like using for that particular day to censor something that they didn't like.
Yeah, well, and they weren't censoring something they didn't like, actually. The problem is they're using AI. So Tactical was saying whatever their excuse that day was, they use AI, and the AI isn't smart enough for us yet. And I'm not sure we want the AI smart, but I digress. That's a totally different topic. I get like stuck on the technology thing because I love technology and I love what it can do for us. But it's also kind of scary when the technology develops and what it can do. There's two sides of what it can do for us that can be alarming. So I try not to react in fear, though, because technology is coming, AI is coming, and we're already using AI. We've been using AI on, phone trees for a long time. So, and that makes life easier for those companies because it routes people in theory to the CSR that they need, and it saves the company lots of money. What it does not do is make me a calm caller-inner. I'll tell you that. I get all pissed off because I just need to talk to a stupid person because I wouldn't be using the phone anyway because I've already read all their FAQs online, except for their FAQs didn't cover what I needed it to, so I'm calling in. And by that time, I'm more in their tree. Hi all, choose dreams in one day. Yeah, that's right. Well, I have to do my Anarchy, you're back. I love your name. It's so funny because the first time I saw Anarchy's name, I didn't get it because there's some capitalizations and stuff, and I'm like, oh, Anarchy, I get it. Yeah, this is my Garden 30. I'm not going to have Garden 30s the rest of the week because I go out of town, and Tactical Redneck is looking forward to having a holler to himself, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. He gets to take care of all the animals and play with my dogs, and I don't think he's going to hijack the station, but sometimes he does that too.
No, I was already planning on doing that.
Oh, he's planning to hijack the station and...
We're going to do sheep talk.
Sheep talk! Kind of like coffee talk, but with sheep. The sheep are doing great, by the way. Even the one that had trouble last week. He looks like he needs vitamins, so we need to give him vitamins this evening.
Yes.
Does he look like that to you too?
Everybody is looking a little hot and tired right now.
Yeah, he was looking separate from the group. I was concerned about that earlier. He was laying off by himself, as if being shunned. I love your name too. It's the same as my wife's. Hi, Tactical. Anarchy says hello. See, I see y'all's chats. I did talk to the person that I referred to in my podcast today, and we will be doing an interview with that person probably next week, depending on how schedules work out, and that's going to be fit where we fit it to just talk about because they gave a series of observations this morning that I thought were very interesting and something we can learn a lot from, having not interacted in our culture for a few years. So anyway, I've now got 4 jars and no brine boiling. I'm making this slow on myself. A canner load is 7 jars. What's funny is I do my Garden 30 today, and none of it's going to be in the garden. It's all going to be about beets. And I still have another boatload, probably two what are they called? Stock pots full of beets to boil. Because what I do is I boil the beets, and then you can just squeeze the peels off, and then you end up with pink hands. And then you wash your hands so you don't shake people's hands on your business trip with pink hands, because that looks weird. One time, guys, it'll wash off, by the way. Beets will wash off. You know, it won't wash off? Black walnut husks. So one time I was, this one's being a little persnickety. One time I was I just had all of these black walnuts Just huge crop. And I love black walnuts, even though you have to like crack them with a vise or whatever. And so I was pulling the husks off. Did I wear gloves? No, I did not. Good day, 30-day reviews. Hey, get these people asking me questions, Justin. They need to ask me more questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to ramble on about the news like I always do. But I was husking them, and if you don't know this about black walnuts, the husk is used as a dye. It will dye your clothes permanently brown, by the way. Well, you know what else it dyes permanently brown? What it also dyes permanently brown are your hands if you're using them to husk the black walnuts, which is why people husk black walnuts in many other ways. If you go on the internet, they're like, here's how you get the husks off without touching them. I didn't know that. And I'm still working in libertarian public policy at this point. So I husked the black walnuts, and you basically end up with brown hands for 2 weeks. It looked like they were just coated in diesel, right? And what happened is I ended up going to a business meeting the very next day, forgot my hands looked like that, walked in, you know, confident and like normal, and guess what happened? Guess what happened? Yeah, that's right. They were all shocked by my hands. And when that happened, the deal was that I had to go through the meeting. They just thought it was funny, luckily. And then I was on my way home. Stopped at the gas station to refill a propane tank. And I had just filled a propane tank at that gas station like 3 days earlier. And I stopped to do it, and same thing. My hands looked like something. And the owner of the gas station said, "Oh my goodness, what happened?" And I thought he meant like, why did you use the stuff so... why did you use the propane so fast? Because you're back here so soon. That's how I took it. Because again, I forgot my hands were very visibly not the color they usually are. And and so I said, "We've been barbecuing a lot." And he was like, and he just gave me a funny look. And then I realized when I left, oh, he was talking about my hands. Will gas fix that issue? I don't know. I never tried gasoline. I did try turpentine, and I tried vinegar, and I tried lemon juice, and I tried paint thinner. None of those things worked. And by the time I'd done that whole list of things, I decided it was probably better just to let it wear off on its own. That was my theory. So, what are you doing tonight? Is that for me or for everybody? Gonna do my dishes too. Thanks. No problem, Anarchy. So peppercorn. So the first thing I put in was garlic, and that's freeze-dried garlic because my garlic's not... I could take it out of the ground, but I'd rather just use what I have and wait for the garlic to be ready to come out of the ground. What I'm doing tonight is finishing the pickling of the beets, packing my bags, going to bed early with a really nice book, falling asleep, getting a good night's sleep because tomorrow I have a really, really long drive, like 8 hours. I know that's not long in the truckerverse, but it's long. This is dill that I'm putting in. Woo! Super exciting. Oh, you know what I didn't put in? Those other ones were hot peppers. We'll do hot peppers in these. Does not matter if the recipe's the same every time. So, yeah, don't know if gasoline will work. I just know that if you're gonna hull black walnuts or which is like you take the outer green coating off, not crack the outer part. Yeah. My beets don't even have bulbs yet. Yeah, my beets do, and I'll be harvesting those probably on Friday when I get back. Friday we're going to do the homestead update that we do live in the morning. We're going to do that in the afternoon because I'm driving 5 hours to get home on Friday. So I'll get up and go, basically, and then that'll be that. That's the plan. Oh, somebody just said something. I walked away. Nope, it was just the beet bulb thing. Yeah, obviously I'm not a rapper. I was a rock singer, though. It's got to be worth something. I'm headed to an undisclosed location in North Carolina to meet with some people. I'm meeting with 2 sets of people about 2 different topics, and it's going to take me 4 days because I added in some extra time for working on my book My 3 Things book and my cookbook update, because that's gotta happen. There's not another meetup. I mean, I'm sure there's another meetup somewhere, but not for me, not this week. So, okay, so I've got all the things in there, and I just dropped that one on the floor. Goodbye, Mr. Beet. That Beet's now for dinner. This one wants this one wants the peeler, which I very carefully put away this morning, because my kitchen was looking really cluttery. You know, cluttery kitchens. I've already got super clutter, like in the form of use these canned goods as soon as we can. So what's happening with the beet peels? Usually they'll just come off with my hand, but every so often I get one that just didn't quite cook all the way, and so then I have to use the peeler, but they still come off easier than peeling the beets raw. So I have done a test on these beets end up a little softer when they're pickled when I do them this way, but the time savings on just being able to push the peel off is huge for me. Peel off, you know, like rice. Ah, ha, ha. How did you prepare the beets? Sorry I was late. So what I did is I cut the stem top off and the little pointy part. Yes, North Carolina's a beautiful state. I love it there. Wish I had time to stop through Asheville and get a nice cup of coffee somewhere free through, but I don't. I did build it into my trip anyway. So now you know where I'm not going. So I cut the stems and the tips off, and then I boil them for 5 minutes, and then I let it cool for about another 10 minutes, and then I run cold water in the pot to cool it down enough that I can touch them, and then I just kind of squeeze the peel off, and then I make the pickle. So you see that what I do when I pickle is I add the things to the jar. Like I'll go back and add some cloves or something to this too, probably. Yeah, these I guess are going to be Nicole's dill ones, is what it looks like, and not Aunt Helen's, based on what I put in the jars. And then I make a brine, and the brine I make is 5.5 cups of vinegar, 6 cups of water, and 1/2 cup of pickling salt, which is right here. Pickling salt. You can use any kind of salt. Pickling salt just means the water doesn't get cloudy. And I bring that to a boil, that brine, which I'll be doing next. And then I pour it boiling over the beet, the jars I'm making that you're watching me make right now, right? Where I'm packing the beets in. And then I water bath can that for 20 minutes, which is more time than I water bath can cucumbers, by the way. So it has a different processing time than cucumbers. That's the one I get wrong. So I'll do, you know, when I make mistakes on this, it's because I do 15 minutes, which is that. Can you oven roast them, then can them? I guess you probably could. I don't know if that, I mean, that would make it so you loosen the peel. By the time you can them, they're going to be really soft anyway, because I've just boiled them for 20 minutes. So it just depends on why you're oven roasting them. Is it because it's easier to oven roast them? I don't know. I don't think I've ever even had fried beets. My wife used them for some kind of cleanser. Earlier this year, came home with a bunch of beets, which was not enough to can, and I usually boil them and then slice them and put them on salads. It's really good to take a slice of beet, a slice of mozzarella, a leaf of basil, and then sprinkle Chev cheese over the top of that. It's really tasty. But what I ended up doing, because I was doing a lot of sautés that week, is I just would take a beet or two and slice it into little squares like you would carrots in a sauté. And I just sautéed it. It was great in a sauté. Now, some people don't like beets because they quote-unquote taste like dirt. And that is what it is. I oven roasted them last year or so and have made borscht. It's good still. Yeah, borscht is yummy. I like making borscht. As I said, I think after this jar of pickled beets, what I'm going to do is make beet ketchup. I have to pull the recipe that Janet sent me, but it's basic. I'm pretty sure I remember the ingredients. I just don't remember the ratios. It was a set of spices, sugar, beets, and vinegar cooked down. And then you puree the beets, right? And the canning times were for up to 8-ounce jelly jars, which is, I don't know about you, but like, when I use ketchup, it's on it's on meatloaf or something. And so I did that. I'm actually gonna wash this beet and use this beet. Anarchy. I'm being an anarchist. Anyway, that's what I do. Is what I'm gonna do, because like I would use a minimum of a pint, which is 16 ounces or a 16-ounce size. I don't know what 16 ounces of that because it's a weight. And there's no canning times for that, and I could make that up, but I prefer not to make up canning times. So then I'm like, what do I do? So what I'm going to do this time is make it, and then I'm going to freeze it in trays. Beets are an acquired taste. Don't eat them raw. Okay. Some people think they taste like dirt and never get over that, and they also don't like beet greens, and that's fine. They probably don't like Swiss chard terribly much either, because those things taste similar. And then freeze dry it, and then we'll try rehydrating the freeze dried stuff. And in this way, I can store a larger amount without, having a whole bunch of jelly jars of ketchup that I open 3 of every time I do a meatloaf. Right? That doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, I'm getting to the point of peeling these beets where there's more peels in the water. Because I'm doing this with my hands in the water, by the way, guys, in this thing. And then I'm going to pour the beet peels into the bucket that goes to the pigs. That's how things work on the homestead. And then typical to me, I wanted to do 7 jars, and I got 6 and 80% of a jar. Which means this is why I wasn't boiling my brine. Which means I have to boil more beets to finish this canning process. But this will be my last canner tonight, so that's good. I'm going to actually get to go to bed before midnight. One time I got so much corn that for 3 days straight, from waking until sleeping, I was canning corn. And I made myself sick. So now we don't do that anymore. We actually give ourselves little breaks sometimes. Just sometimes. If I get small ones this year, I may have to try and can them, but I don't have a canner. Well, if you have a stock pot and you do little jars, you probably could fit it, or borrow a friend's canner. Is nobody in North Dakota having canned? I've canned applesauce and ham, but we'll be doing more towards the end of summer. Mushrooms. Yeah, I can a lot of things, even though I have a freeze dryer. So that is what it is. Okay, so now we're starting over again. Cold water in here, and beets. Because no matter what, gotta boil the beets. So, boil them to peel them. Look how many beets are left. That's it. Super excited. These are going to be ketchup and the rest of my canning. And these are going in my refrigerator for when I get back into town, unless Tactical eats them while I'm gone, to use on salads and in sautés. And that's my last of my 3 boxes. You have no idea how happy I am. So the way canning kind of goes down around here, I can stuff as it comes off my garden if I can, but I'll hit the farmer's market and they sucker me into buying extra boxes of stuff, or buying extra if they're having so I get it for cheap, by the way, because they're like, hey, we need to get rid of this. And I can it, and sometimes I'll work out a trade with them. And other times, like I'll come back and give them, half the jars or whatever, and then they'll give me empty jars to replace it. This knife, by the way, is my Patrick Werman chef knife. I love this thing. But this time I just ended up with a bunch of beets. I may have some beets for sale later this year. But I'll do all the canning at once when that happens. So I'll end up, I do beans as I go. So these were not your beets. No, these were beets from the farmer's market. My beets I'm harvesting on Friday. So I'll have more beets on Friday. And that is what it is. This is a really cool rack that you can then drip things over your sink, and the water goes on your sink and not your counter. I love that thing. So, I have one escape artist here. So beans will happen here where I get probably about 4 jars. I actually got beet juice up on my cutting board there and the wall behind the sink. I'll do 4 jars at a time for those off the garden with the row size I have. And then hopefully that'll be enough to get us a total of 4 or 5 cases of beans. If they don't, and it looks like we're not going to be as successful with beans as I want, I will buy a bushel here. We basically here, among all the holler neighbors, ate and then ran out of green beans. 2 or 3 bushels, including the ones I serve at events, because I try to serve food from here at our workshops that we have on site. Like, we have a chicken processing workshop coming up. A type of beans. I have bush beans, just green beans. I don't know the variety. I bought the packet of seeds. So I have 2 varieties out there right now. Ones that are yellow on the vine and ones that are green. And they were supposed to be a bush variety. And I looked at them yesterday and they sure look like pole beans to me. So by the time I get back, it will be obvious if they're pole beans or not. And if they are pole beans, then I'm going to end up having to build another trellis. I'm getting looked at by the redneck. You haven't had much to say this time. Tired. Why are you tired?
I just got done moving another brush pile.
You just got done moving another brush pile. Did you figure out your weed whacker problem?
Waiting on parts.
Waiting on parts?
Well, I've got the stuff to try to modify one of them. I just haven't gotten around.
So we've got 2 broken weed whackers and one what we call the super whacker, which is like a push whacker. And he's been clearing fence line to put electric fencing up. It's a brush pile, just burn it. You can't always burn brush piles where they are. So then he moves them to where he can. And I think he's using some of them to create dams along the runoff.
If I get close to that mic, can you hear?
I don't know. Come stand next to me. Guys, we're going to do a test. We want to know if you can hear him. I'm going to point it and here you go.
I figure, why burn brush pile and just make it go away in a pile of ashes? So I'm piling brush up in piles where it can sit there and decompose into soil, which also eliminates the extra step of having to drag hoses around so that if it gets out of control, so it saves me time to just pile it up and let it ride.
There you have it, guys. I have the only redneck in the world who chooses moving brush piles instead of burning things. I know it's not right. He may actually have to give up his redneck card for that one.
I will fight somebody on that.
Have I ever made kvass? No, I have not. I would be willing to try it though because I have PCOS, and one of the things that makes your PCOS better, they say, is kvass and other beet-related items, and I have always really been attracted to eating beets, so I wonder if that's part of the issue. Okay, so what's kvass? Kvass is it's a fermented beet juice, basically, and what it tastes like. So you know how you do kombucha and what that tastes like? Kvass does not taste like that at all, right? Kvass tastes more like, you have to think bone broth in your head, or when you take a drink of it, you'll make a yucky face. But if you think cold bone broth, then kvass is actually just fine. So that's what kvass is. And Short Mountain Cultures is a local fermentation company here, and I always buy theirs. We buy it by the gallon. It's also supposed to be really good for acid reflux and some other things. I was thinking about renting a chipper for the weekend and putting your brush piles through that. Give it give that a try. I was actually listening to Jack Spirko the other day, and he did mention that some wood chippers, many like consumer grade wood chippers, you have to get the sticks to stick level. Like they're not super good with brush. So if you're gonna rent one, I would definitely ask them, like, can I just put handfuls of brush in that, or is it something that takes a lot of pre-processing? The other thing that he mentioned is it's surprising how much brush goes into one of those wood chippers and how few chips come out. Because we had some people here chipping, and we were putting the chips on the hillside garden, and that ended up giving us a lot fewer chips than we thought, and they worked all afternoon on it. So that is what it is. Let's see.
Also,
See another comment here. Thanks for the tips. Yep, sure, no problem. I had a wood chipper and I sold it, and now I think we're gonna buy one again. That is the point of the chipper, is to make the wood chips. That's right. What I really want is the electric company to come through and trim the lines and put mountains of chips here. What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's more work that I don't want to do, and also you have to let the wood dry out, because if you put green branches through there, it will gum up.
Okay, so
the
he's
blades.
saying that green branches can gum it up too. So definitely ask. I think there are ones that are higher powered that do well. This is my favorite scooping tool for like pouring brine into jars, and it's a milk steamer from an espresso maker. Just as an aside. Canning tips from Nicole that you didn't even know you get. I've probably done a beet canning class on my membership portal. Don't even know. Anyway, it looks like I've made it through my garden 30. If y'all don't have more questions, I'm going to finish these beets up, and I'm going to cook a nice saute. Hi! I'm going to cook a nice saute for dinner and have some pulled pork. It's going to be delicious. And then I'm going to be eating weird road food for the rest of the week. Except for I'm visiting some people who may actually have decent food, so, but that's okay if they don't. I mean, I'm sure they do. You know what I mean, right? The ones the tree companies are the best. Yeah, the tree companies use it like a whole truck size one though. Yeah, like I don't know if you can rent that easily, but if I had a lot of brush, I'd totally look into that. They also may make attachments for a tractor. I don't know, so look into that too. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed Garden 30. I won't be back for one of these until maybe next Friday, maybe not till next week, but we will be doing the live feed on Wednesday at 12:30 with Billy Bond and John Willis, and then sometime in the afternoon Friday I'll do the homestead update. See you soon.